everyone, it's Deanna from Deanna Scraps, and I am here with the Crafty Maven Getaway channel, bringing you a Scrap Lift Saturday video. And the first couple of images that you saw, one was the inspiration piece, and the next one was the layout that I'm scrap lifting, which was by Ashley Horton. And I pretty much scrap lift this layout almost to a T. I loved the layout. I did decide to go with mostly just blues and greens because when I was looking at the inspiration piece, I was really drawn to the blues and the color palette that was on there. So right now I am just pulling a bunch of pattern papers out that either I had on my desk or I just pulled out of my stash that had some different colors of blues and greens, and I'm just working with what looks good. So as I was going through and cutting up some of these papers, I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like I'm cutting through full sheets of paper, and what if I don't end up using, some of these strips? But the only one that I don't end up using is that one that's on the top left right there, and it has the black and white floral. Otherwise, all of the strips that I cut, I believe I used. So, and a lot of these were scrap pieces of paper, so I wasn't using an entire sheet, but, there were a couple that I cut from the full sheet. So I did go off camera just to make sure I could cut that triangle really well. I wanted to make sure it was even, and just laying that down. And now I'm not putting a ton of adhesive on these because I know that I'm going to sew those strips on. And that is something that Ashley Horton did on her layout too. So there's kind of a lot of sewing that gets done on this layout. And I'm going to play around a lot trying to figure out, excuse me, which of the pattern papers look best together. At one point I had actually toyed with the idea of doing the black and white pieces of paper on one side and all of the color, the green and the blue on another side, but I didn't like that. I wanted to kind of alternate them, so that's how I ended up doing it. So I'm going to cut off all that excess there. And so that's kind of what it looks like. And then I went ahead and did the sewing and pulled all the strings through on the back and just kind of taped those down. So one of the things that I really liked that Ashley had done on her layout was she had taken some of the strips from the design above and built just this little layer on the bottom to kind of build a border. And then, of course, went through and sewed that. So that's what I'm doing here. And I don't know how you can be picky with this, but I was being picky with it. I probably could have done any color anyway and it would have looked good, but I kept playing around, switching the colors. What's going to have the most length. And then I finally decided, and I'm going to go off camera here and sew that down too. All right, so that's all sewn now, and I'm showing you, the reason why I did kind of a close-up of that little spot there was I kept seeing these little splotches on that black and white striped paper, and it really made me want to put more black splotches down, so that's what I'm doing here. And a lot of that will get covered up, but you'll still be able to see some of it. And these are the photos that I'm using. They're just kind of silly photos that my boyfriend and I did. Some selfies, me trying to get him to take a nice picture and him being goofy in the picture. He's kind of a silly guy. So when I'm lining these up, very similar to how Ashley did them too, where it's not exactly lined up, and I like that. And I did back them on some white cardstock just to kind of separate it a little bit from those pattern papers. It's not a lot of contrast, but I really didn't want to do black because the photo is already black and white. And then I'm using these letter stickers, and they are done by American Crafts, and they were done for Studio Calico. And I got them ages ago. It was like back in 2014, I think, when I was getting Studio Calico kits. And they're navy, and they're very nice. I like the size. You don't get this size very often in like a thicker type letter sticker. So, and luckily I had 2 packs because they're small. It's a small pack, so you don't get a lot of letters. But I happened to have 2. I got one in the grab bags that they were doing recently. So I had 2, so I was able to do the title that I wanted to, which as I look back on the title now, I think the title's a little funny because it says my love is so silly, but what I'm referring to when I say love is my boyfriend. So not that not that my love is silly. I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? Anyways, it's still cute. And Ashley had done some washi tape here as another line, and I'm doing that also. She did ones that were thinner, but I really wanted to have this black and white polka dot in there. So, and this one gives me a little bit of trouble. I end up having to take the photo off because it just doesn't look right. Which then as soon as I took the photo off, I was like, wait a minute, now I don't know where the photo's at. But I just lined it up against the heart and that was fine. I'm going to add that photo back on. And I really like the way that washi looks. So I have this arrow. I believe I got that arrow from a Freckled Fawn kit ages ago. And it's a black, it's got like glitter on top. It's not super, super shiny, but it's a little shiny. And then these are Amy Tangerine rub-ons. And I love this one that says other half, and it's in navy, so it works perfect. And then I'm also going to use one of those, I think they're acetate words, the one that says capture. And it's from Pink Fresh Studio, and you get a ton of sayings in that pack. And I'm going to use this. I'm really nervous because I'm going to sew through it. And I'm super nervous because I've never sewn through like plastic or anything thick. And it was funny because the first time the needle went through a piece of plastic, it was just this loud noise. And I was like, oh my God, I'm breaking my sewing machine. But it was fine. It all went through just fine. Nothing broke. All was safe. All right, then that always tab is actually from another thing that I received in the Studio Calico grab bags. It was a big sticker sheet. And I think I wrote it down. There's so many things I used on this layout. It's hard to find on my list. But anyways, I don't even know that you can buy it anymore because it was from an old Studio Calico kit. It was literally a pack, like a sticker sheet that had a bunch of black and white stickers on it. And then I am going to use a little bit of the puffy stickers from that Bloom collection. Just a couple of the words. And then those rubber embellishments, those were from Pink Fresh Studio. And then I just have some cork hearts that I'm going to put on here. It's getting down to the end of the layout. I think I just have, oh, that's right. Okay, so I do some stamping now. On Ashley's layout, she had some stamping in this bottom right corner, and it was the date. And I didn't want to do the date just because the date for this layout is not as important. In fact, I'm pretty sure I might have scrapbooked these photos already. So I'm just going to do a couple of phrase stamps. And I'm going to do the favorite photo is clean, and then I do the perfect picture or picture perfect, and I just kind of stamp that a couple times to do like a messy look. And from there, I'm going to pick out some enamel dots that match the layout as best as I can. And I didn't want to do anything more dark on here, so I was going to use just one of those mint or almost teal color enamel dots. Here I'm just adjusting where that word is placed because it was just a little too far away from the word love. So I'm adding the enamel dots here. And once I get all those on, that is the end of the layout. And I'm going to add it in one more spot here down on the, I did 3 spots, but I really wanted to add some to the bottom part of the layout. So there we go. I'm just going to add that last dot, and that is it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the layout and the process. Let me know if you have any questions about what the products are. And again, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.